everyone, it's also back with another Raiders video. In this video, I'll be giving my game recap for the Raiders Patriots preseason week 3 game. So let's get into it. This is the final preseason game before the final cuts and before the regular season. So you know they have to cut down from an 80-man roster where they're currently at to 53 by I don't know which day, but after this game. So some of the final battles to look at are quarterback. I think it's already decided. Quarterback 1, Carr. Quarterback 2, Stidham. Quarterback 3, Garbers. Garbers maybe on the practice squad, maybe on the active roster. But besides that, I think it's set. Running back, with Kenyon Drake cut, I think that would mean the running back 2 spot would be between Kenyon Drake or Brandon Bolden. I think they like Brandon Bolden more. I think they prefer Brandon Bolden more, even though I kind of like Amir Abdullah more. But there was pass catchers as well. And then 2 power backs as well as Zamir White, Britton Brown and Zamir White. I hope Britton Brown makes the active roster. He played really well last week. Good in week 1 as well. And he is a draft pick of ours from UCLA in the 7th round, pick 250 overall. Austin Walter, I think he might be like the BJ Emmons of last preseason. He played pretty well in the preseason, but they didn't really have a spot for him. Even on the practice squad, there wasn't much of a role for him. Same thing with Walter, even though I think he's been playing well. Sometimes it comes down to scheme fit or what they're gonna do for your team. And if Walter isn't really gonna do much, then they might just cut him. At tight end 3, the final battle is still between Horsted, Bowers, or Hollister. Hollister has missed his 2nd week of practice. I don't think he'll be playing in this game, and obviously missing time is bad for him. Bowers as well, I think is not as high up as where Horsted is right now. Cole Fotheringham, I think they'll cut him. He hasn't done much at tight end. I don't think he even had a catch this preseason. He was playing some fullback, but that was probably because they didn't want Jacob Johnson playing the whole game at fullback. Obviously, we know who the fullback would be, however, so I think he'll get cut. I think Horsted right now has a better chance to win it over Bowers. I think Hollister or Bowers, one will be the tight end 3. The other might be on the active roster. Might be on the practice squad. I don't know if they'll keep 4 tight ends, but Hollister and Horsted, I think, would then be those third and 4th guys. Right now, Horsted has the highest stock out of any of those guys. At the receiver spot, DJ Turner is it's kind of at the top of the wide receiver 6 battle. I think they already have their wide receiver 5s locked down, but receiver 6. Who is definitely gonna be on the practice squad, maybe on the active roster if they keep 6. But they're definitely gonna keep 1 or 2 practice squad guys. I think DJ Turner is leading the battle for that. Dylan Stoner's back there a lot because he's been on the pup list the whole preseason. He might play in this game. I hope he does. And then Isaiah Zuber hasn't done much. Justin Hall hasn't done much. They cut Chris Lacey. I'm not sure who else they have back there at all. But yeah, I think the receivers are pretty much reaching the end point at this point. O-line, Darren Munford hopefully plays in this game. He's still got to prove his right tackle availability and, reliability, because he was pretty good in week 1 of the preseason, which was the Vikings game, I'm saying. And the Hall of Fame game, he wasn't as good, so they still need to see more from him to see if he's going to actually be this legitimate right tackle. I don't think he'll be starting at right tackle. I don't think there's any way that will happen. But, as like a backup developmental piece, he's a 7th round pick. If he isn't starting in year 1, that's fine. A lot of 7th round picks do end up getting cut anyway. Not a lot, I'd say a good amount, like it's not 7th round picks aren't, a lot to make the roster, and the Raiders have 2 7th round picks this year. However, if he proves he can be an option at right tackle, that would be a very good thing to see. Apparently, Brandon Parker's injury might not be for the whole season, so maybe he'll come back eventually. That's still, I know he played bad. I know he's pretty bad, but that's still good. Like, that's good depth. Play left and right tackle. I'd obviously rather have him than not have him. If he's starting, then I'd probably rather start someone else. But I'd rather have him on the team than not have him on the team at that point. Because if they're not going to sign anyone, but we'll see. There's a couple of weeks after the preseason week 3 game until the week 1 game of the regular season. Jermaine Illuminor's stock, I think, is looking the highest it's been all preseason. Probably the highest it's been at all since he played on the Raiders. I mean, he did start 4 games at right guard, but that's when there's injuries. Right now, he might earn his legitimate starting spot. Even throughout, whatever's going on. At right tackle, he pretty much has already beat out Leatherwood. Leatherwood's probably gonna move back to guard But I think Cotton's got a spot over him at right guard. If they want to put him at left guard, there's Simpson and Parm fighting there. I guess Parm fighting for the left guard spot is like halftime because he's also playing center, but I don't think he'll win that role. I think for Parm to start, his best option would be at left guard, and I think he's better at left guard also. So there would really not be a spot for Leatherwood on the starting O-line, even if he was transitioned to guard, because he was already beat out at tackle. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the video, but I've been writing with this idea for like a week now. My projections would be for the O-line would be left tackle Colton Miller, left guard Dylan Parm over John Simpson, center Andre James, right guard Lester Cotton, and right tackle Darrell Williams, who they would bring in. And you would still have Simpson can play both guard spots, he's on the bench. Leatherwood can play guard and tackle, and he's on the bench. And they have Luminor who can play left tackle, and right guard on the bench. Those depth options look a lot better than what our starting O-line would look like, or our depth currently, on the O-line. And some other guys in there, Horonis Gorsu's been okay, Bama Dolcini's been, okay, whatever. I think Jackson Barton will probably get cut. Just a lot of other guys in there, but they're not going to obviously need that many. On defense, they still need to get more pass rush, I would say. However, for pass rushers, Kuntz is going to be on the team without a doubt. Cleveland Farrell's back from injury finally, but at this point, it might just be too little, too late. Sean Bauer's been playing really well. Even Tyrone Tagovailoa Amosa. I think it's Tyrone Tagovailoa Amosa. I'm not sure. But number 69, the rookie from the UDFA from Notre Dame. He hasn't looked that bad either. And then they have some of their 3-4 defensive ends. They have Tyler Lancaster as well. Unfortunately, Jordan Jenkins went down with an injury. A lot of guys still out there. Kyle Pego, Andrew Billings, also defensive tackle room I'm talking about now. But besides the starting two defensive tackles, nothing is really locked down. The starting nose tackle will be Hankins. The starting three technique will be Bilal Nichols. But besides that, it's really up in the air. I think the depth, it's kind of, I mentioned this before. I feel like it's, they have their options, but I feel like they're not really reliable options. Kyle Pego, Andrew Billings, whoever else is there, like Matthew Butler, Neil Farrell Jr. Those are potential guys, at least the final two I just named. But I don't think it's very sure depth. Even though I think Neil Farrell Jr. could be the nose tackle too for this season. Although he hasn't done much in preseason from what I'm sure. And then a linebacker, I think you have your top three in lockdown. Obviously, Denzel Perryman, Gian Brown, Divine Diablo. If they are running 4-2-5 schemes, it would be interesting to see if that second guy with Perryman is either. It would be interesting to see who would be next to Perryman. Would it be Divine Diablo or Gian Brown? Divine Diablo more of a run stopper, Gian Brown more of a pass coverage guy. I like both of them. Those are three good linebackers to have. However, then the fourth guy would be kind of up in the air. I think it'd be Luke Masterson at this point. Darian Butler might be the linebacker 5, but I think he's fighting with Tay Davis. I think Darian Butler has the edge right now because Tay Davis has never played for the Raiders and hasn't played in a year, I don't believe. Actually, no, he's played in the preseason, this preseason, I believe. I'm not sure if that's true, with the Texans. But he didn't play last regular season. And then, Curtis Bowen, kind of like a linebacker 6, who I don't think, or linebacker 7, who I don't think will make it. I think they'll keep 5 linebackers on the active roster. So maybe Darian Butler makes the practice squad then if Tay Davis makes the active roster over him, or maybe vice versa. In the DB room, the safety battle is going to come down to it. They did trade Gillespie, but besides that, I don't think they've cut anyone at safety. Well, besides Levitt, but that was before preseason. You have your 3 lockdown. Free safety Merrick, strong safety Abram. The safety 3, is Harmon. I hope he's not like a Carl Joseph last year. This time last year, we were also high about Carl Joseph. He's the safety 3. He's he can play free safety, strong safety. He can hit. But he got cut during the roster cuts. Probably the biggest surprise cut of that offseason. But now Harmon could be that same role, safety 3, free safety, strong safety. He can do both. He has done both in the preseason. Has come up in the box. Has dropped back into coverage. I hope he is that guy for us. But then behind him, Roger Teamer Jr. I almost said Tyree Gillespie. Quintero Cole, Isaiah Palamau, Matthias Farley. Honestly, I think Matthias Farley should have a spot over, at least on the depth chart, over Quintero Cole and Isaiah Palamau. I think he's looked better. And then, they have Roger Teamer, I think, should pretty easily be the 4th safety. I like what he did on special teams last year. I like what he did in the regular season. In some games he played. Week 18 he played on defense. Week 16 he played some games he played most of the game on defense. Week 17, you know, after Abram got hurt with the injury, and you know, week 16, Nate Hobbs wasn't really playing much either because of, you know, his COVID stuff. So we saw a lot of Project Teamer there, and he wasn't bad either. Since it's the final preseason game, I feel like they'll play some of their starters anyway, you know, because there's not really another chance to see them until the regular season. Some of the veterans, maybe not the superstars, but some of the good star players, you know, like the starting corners, you know, which I'm about to talk about: Trayvon Mullen, Rocky Sin, Anthony Averett. You know, obviously Rocky Sin and Anthony Averett have been the corner 1 and 2 during camp, with Rocky Sin being the corner 1, Anthony Averett sometimes playing slot with Amik Robertson. But you know, Trayvon Mullen still could be the corner 1. I think he's better than Anthony Averett. Surely, I think he might even be better than Rocky Sin. So maybe he'll play in this game. I hope he does. He hasn't played, you know, since December of last year in an NFL game. I would think that those 3 would be the top 3 corners on the Raiders on the outside, because you know, I'm considering that Nate Hobbs will actually be a slot corner. You know, I don't think Amik Robertson has done good enough in his career or this preseason specifically at. I'm saying specifically because the staff has seen that he's not a very good slot corner, because in the preseason he hasn't been a very good slot corner. Darius Phillips, I think, you know, can play outside, can play slot. I think he's above Amik Robertson on the depth chart. So I think the top 5 corners would be in no order: Trayvon Mullen, Rocky Sin, Anthony Averett, Darius Phillips, and Nate Hobbs, in no order, obviously, as I just said. However, corner 6 and, you know, beyond, at least keeping on the practice squad, Sam Webb is probably the most likely option, unless I'm forgetting someone. Bryce Cosby really hasn't been that effective since the first preseason game in the Hall of Fame game against Jacksonville. And then, you know, there's some other guys that are probably going to get cut. Ike Brown hasn't looked bad either, but I don't know if it's enough to make a practice squad spot. Maybe he competes with Bryce Cosby for a practice squad spot. But the corner depth has looked good in preseason. I'm excited to see it during the regular season. And our starters also specifically. You know, I love Trayvon Mullen. He's my favorite player on the team. I hope he does well this season. Rocky Sino's an interesting pickup. Anthony Averett, he's kind of I don't think he's very consistent, really. You know, that's why I don't really know if he can really be a starter. So I hope Mullen's healthy. I would like Anthony Averett as a corner 3, because, you know, some games with last year, you know, the Ravens, he was good. Some of them he was bad. Some of them, you know, the Ravens fans wanted him to get off the field as fast as possible. Yeah, so that's our corner room, and now that's our whole defense, and that would be the whole video talking about the position battles of pretty much every position, you know, on the team. Special teams obviously locked down. We don't have any other kickers, punters, or long snappers on the team, even though they did work some out not long ago, maybe like a couple weeks ago, but, you know, they didn't sign them. So obviously we have our guys locked down in special teams. So yeah, that was me giving my game preview for the Raiders Patriots week 3 preseason game. I will my game previews for the regular season games and hopefully playoff games will be a lot different, because, you know, in these games, in the preseason games, I'm basically previewing our team and how, you know, we're gonna like kind of stack up, how we're gonna not stack up, but how we're gonna play our guys, like, you know, the rotations and stuff, because you can't really game plan for another team's backups. You know, I don't know what to say. You know, like, let's stop the opposing team's quarterback 3 because he's a good, I don't know, scrambler or something. They're running, like, I can't really, you know, I don't think NFL teams really do that either. However, in the regular season, it'll be a lot different. I'll be talking about the opponents, every, like, matchup, our corners, their DBs, you know, our corners, their wide receivers, their run game, their weaknesses, their strengths, all that stuff. But anyway, that was my preview for this game. I'm Arthur, and thank you for watching.